All right, listen up. This is a Code Ninja security advisory. We're tracking a live threat, CVE 2026-3819. It's a stored cross-site scripting vulnerability in the SourceCodester Resort Reservation System, version 1.0. And the most critical piece of intel, this is an unpatched vulnerability. Let me repeat that. The vendor has not issued a patch. So why the emergency broadcast? It's simple and it's severe. A public proof of concept exploit is out there right now. That means the tools to carry out this attack are in the wild. With no official fix available, sitting around and waiting for an update is not a strategy. It's unacceptable. System administrators need to take immediate defensive action.
So our objective here is crystal clear, and it's twofold. First, we're here to give you, the operators on the front lines, the defensive protocols you need to mitigate this threat right now. Second, this public disclosure is designed to apply pressure and force a response from the vendor. This is what coordinated vulnerability disclosure looks like in the real world.
Now, before we get into the technical brief, we need to perform a comms check. It's absolutely critical that we establish and confirm a secure intelligence channel for any future updates on this or other threats. Okay, first up is your safety directive. You need to subscribe to this channel at Cybertech79, and this is important, enable all notifications. Look, this isn't about growing a channel. This is a security necessity. It's how you get real-time threat intelligence. Next, the acknowledgement protocol. Hit the like button on this advisory. This action is your formal handshake, your confirmation that you've received this critical intel and you're ready to act on it. And finally, the census directive. Report your status in the comments below. Just a simple patched if you've already implemented the mitigations we're about to cover, or vulnerable if you haven't yet. This intel is invaluable. It helps us gauge the blast radius and map out the entire threat landscape. Comms check complete, let's get to the deep dive, and we're starting with the exposure window. You have to understand the timeline to accurately assess your organization's risk. Okay, look at this timeline. The clock started ticking at midnight UTC on March 8th. That's when the advisory went public and the exposure window blew wide open. Just hours later, the CVE ID gets reserved. By the next morning, it's already in the National Vulnerability Database. But here's the kicker, the one you really need to pay attention to, March 9th, 1724 UTC. That's when CISA confirms a proof of concept exploit exists in the wild. Think about that. We went from disclosure to a publicly confirmed working exploit in less than 48 hours. That is the insane speed of modern threats. Your window to react, it's shrinking fast. So you get the timeline. Now let's dissect the exploit itself, how it works, what the blast radius looks like, and what kind of impact it could have on your operations. The vulnerability we're dealing with is a stored cross-site scripting flaw, or CVE-79. Here's how it works. An attacker targets the ID argument in the Reservation Management Module. The application completely fails to sanitize this input, so the malicious script gets saved. It gets stored right there on the server. Then it's served up to any user who views that page, and it executes in their browser, totally without their knowledge. This is way, way more dangerous than a simple reflected XSS. Now, this is really interesting. Take a look at the severity analysis. VLDB, which was the original source, first scored this as a 3.5. That's low severity. But then the US National Vulnerability Database took a look and upgraded it to a 5.4, which is a medium threat. The newer CVSS 4.0 standard also puts it at a 5.1 medium. So what's the takeaway here? Don't get hung up on the exact number. With a public exploit and no patch, you have to treat this as a significant threat, period. So what's the actual damage an attacker can do? A successful exploit gives them the keys to the kingdom inside a user's browser. They can execute any script they want. That means stealing session cookies and authentication tokens to completely hijack accounts. They can then perform actions as if they are that legitimate user. They can redirect your people to phishing sites or just deface your website entirely. The integrity of your application and all your user sessions are on the line. Okay, we've defined the threat. We understand the impact. Now, for the most critical part of this entire brief, your mitigation protocol. These are the steps you must take right now to secure the perimeter. Since there's no vendor patch, you're the one who has to implement these defenses. Step 1. Enforce strict import validation on that ID parameter. Do not trust any data that comes from a user. Step 2. Apply robust output encoding. Before any data gets rendered back to the page, encode it. This will neutralize any malicious script tags and make them totally harmless.
Step 3. Deploy a content security policy. A strong CSP is a critical layer of defense, and it can stop the browser from executing unauthorized scripts even if an attacker manages to get one through. And Step 4. Configure your web application firewall. Your WAF needs rules in place specifically designed to detect and block common XSS payloads that target this exact endpoint. And that brings us to our final point, the disclosure code. I want to be very clear about the why, the ethical imperative that's driving this public advisory.
Our disclosure code is non-negotiable. When a working exploit is public and the vendor has failed to ship a patch, our primary responsibility shifts. It becomes our duty to inform you, the public, so that individual operators can take action and protect their own systems. The attacker had the advantage. With this information, we are now leveling the playing field. Waiting is simply not an option.
Execute your mitigation protocols. Verify your defenses. Stay secure.